Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everyone, my name is Farid Khairul Umam. Here, have have you wondered about what method could help you to be a more effective English teacher? We are going to discuss a helpful teaching method called the direct approach or direct method. What might that be? I'm glad you asked. The direct method to language learning is a form of immersion method you might have heard about. Learning language by immersion before it simply means that you are taught a language by only hearing and communicating in the language that you are trying to learn. You are using this method with your student in the lessons as you only speak English with them and not using Bahasa or using Bahasa Indonesia in your teaching. The direct method extends this idea into a few important points. This method focuses on language use instead of language structure and grammar rules. Notice that in the curriculum that you teach, there is not a large focus on learning the rules of the English language. The focus is instead shifted to oral communication with target words and target language. You have probably noticed that each lesson has different target words. In language that is heavily used throughout the class in a beginner class, it might be something like, "Hello, my name is Farid. How are you?" And in advanced class, it might be something like, "Do you think cherries are better than grapes?" Maybe, but I also think oranges are good too. One of the most important aspects of the direct method instruction is you. Yes, the native speaking teacher is integral as this method does not rely on translation but full immersion into the language being learned. There are three main methods used in the direct method. The first is the Rawls method, which focuses on listening and speaking over reading and writing. This method emphasizes the teacher using drama and creative action to convey vocabulary words and target language. For example, the teacher could act out cracking an egg and cooking it in a pan to teach the word cook. Another similar method is DPR. You are probably familiar with using this method in your lesson. Total basic response involves modeling action or using picture for students to learn vocabulary words and target phrases. For example, you would wave, then teaching the word hello. The student would wave back at you and eventually speak the word with the action hello. The third method is TP. Our storytelling, this method sort of combines the previous mentioned method in a connective context. For example, the student could act out short story in groups, taking turns with speaking role play. So what does this have to do with teaching your classes? Employing activities that use the direct approach method can help you make your classes more interactive and and engaging, all while helping the student to create a meaningful connection to the target. Language in the lesson. Let's look at some example of activities. A fun that easy activity is to do drill commands. You can use this similar to Simon Says, with words like stand up, sit down, and touch your head. The student can also take turns being the leader and calling out the commands. This activity would work well in a beginner lesson with simple action words. Another great idea is to use CPR for words that you speak but sometimes use the wrong action with the word and let the student correct the action. For example, say the word eyes but touch your nose and let the student show you the correct action. A third engaging activity is to take turns rolling a dice for each student. The number of the dice is the number of commands that a student would act out. For example, if the student rolls a 3, you would give them 3 commands. To act out touch your nose, stand up, and raise your hand. The student would then act out the string of commands. These are just a few ideas of engaging activities using the direct approach that you can use in your classroom. Not only does this method get an entertaining lesson for the student, but it has also been proven by research to create a meaningful lasting memory of the language for the student. And that is our goal. Yeah, I think it's all for my explanation. I hope you can get my point. I hope you can using this method in your teaching in the classes. I hope you can use this method uh, perfectly. Okay. In the last session, I would say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.